Today is a very special day because today is the release day of Sun, Journey of Icarus. I don't know who already saw it, but it is online on diverse streaming platforms. You can listen to it. And this one is a song I personally really like. I mean, okay, I like all my songs, but that one was also a very special challenge for me because this one is the most piano heavy song. And therefore, my main instrument besides singing was in the focus, and therefore, it was not only a lot of fun to compose the song, but also it was a lot of fun to record it. Actually, it is also the song it took me most of the time to record, because the piano patterns are quite challenging actually. Hey, I'm fine. So give me a hello if you are out there and watching. I'm quite happy that finally it's time to again release another single of our upcoming album Mother Universe, and I am super curious what you are thinking about it, how you like it, and yeah, because it's always something very different to sit at home, to compose and to record, and to be to see the reactions of other people and to get kind of a feedback of what you were doing all the time, and if people like it, or if you can touch people with certain moments of the song, and if it's only you who is sitting there and just enjoying the music, or if it's a shared joy. Yeah, well, but today I don't only want to talk about positive things actually, but give you a deeper insight in the psychology and mind of musicians, because obviously our song Sun, Journey of Icarus, is working with that. I don't know if you already read the text or could understand it while listening to the song. It's basically about a musician who's preparing himself for stage, having his great moments there, a great high, and then afterwards there comes loneliness, there comes drug abuse, and there come fears and all the negative sides of the life of touring musicians. And actually, this person I'm singing about in this song is not a real one, but there are several persons I know personally, and also a little bit of own experiences that all went into this character I was creating this song around. And I wanted to take the opportunity, if you don't have like specific questions about the song or want to tell me something about it, in case you didn't listen to it until now, you just have to go either on Spotify or Deezer or Tidal or on YouTube Music or wherever you like, and there you can listen to the song. My day until now was actually quite exhausting because I was preparing a lot for the release. So yeah, I was cutting a video that you will also see the next days, and you saw already a short excerpt also in the announcement of Sun, if you had a look like yesterday on the timeline of molllust channel or also of my channel. And yeah, then I had a talk with like the label and the promo guys about the promo for the whole album that is now laying in front of us, and I was writing several mails because we were finally ordering the merch for you that was pre-ordered in the campaign, in the crowdfunding campaign for the album, and will also be of future touring merch, and that all has to be prepared. So a lot to organize, and yeah, so it kept me quite busy. My favorite music. Um, my heart is actually on the classical music side. Um, from the from childhood on, I was playing classical piano, and therefore I got a lot of favorite music there. I really enjoyed composers like Rachmaninoff or like Brahms, and so basically composers like from the epoch of Romanticism. And also a bit later, I got in touch, of course, with symphonic metal, and therefore you also got some idols there. So I enjoy also um, a lot the singing of Taya Turun, and also like some songs of Nightwish, of Taya, of Therion, and other symphonic acts. And actually, also tonight I will be at a concert. That's actually why we had to do the stream that early tonight, because from our first producer of our first album, Andy Schmidt, his band is called Disillusion, and he has his album released today here in Leipzig, and therefore I'll go there with some friends and bandmates and celebrate their release together with them. So, of course, it's one thing to release the own music, but it's also a cool thing to see the releases of other musicians. And later on, I of course also got in touch with other bands besides these genres that I like. For example, underground bands. When you have a look at the Winters and Woods Meet Metal Festival, I always invite some bands there front, and I enjoy their music. So there you can find a lot of underground bands like Conspiria or like Dream Ocean, and yeah, or if you have like saw like this split screen cover project where we also joined forces like with Flower Leaf, with Clavier. It's really cool to widen the horizon and to make music with several acts. And how long my hair is, I never measured that. I really can't tell you. And you enjoyed Venus, oh, that's also nice. Yeah, it's actually, I think, one of the most positive songs I composed until now. Um, uh, it's Sun isn't that positive as Venus, but it also has his sunny moments. Actually, the refrain, at least for me, also feels quite sunny. But I can't tell that I just like one song way more than another one, because they are kind of all my babies. I really like them all. So, um, but in most cases, I always like those most that are from the newest album, because perhaps I heard the old ones already so many times, and these ones are still fresh. So it's always cool to have after a while some new songs approaching, and finding the right spirit for it on stage and performing it, and yeah, so it's always a new challenge to develop something cool. Yeah, I know Epica, of course I know Epica. I think you can't be in the symphonic genre for more than 10 years now and never have heard of Epica. I already saw them live also. And yeah, it's also a really good band. And they also have a strong concept. It's really cool. Ah. And what I wanted to talk today a bit about is actually the mind of musicians, and I wanted to give you a bit of an insight behind the scenes, how it is to be a musician. Um, I brought some paperwork with me. It's actually an article of the Musicians Union. And this one is a musicians society from the UK that is taking care of the interests of musicians, and they gathered some facts about musicians' psychological health, and I wanted to give you an insight um, in these facts, and also I wanted to give you an insight on my personal point of view to these how things feel like from the other side of the stage. Yeah, yeah, cool. You like Epica? It's a good band. Yeah, and they are all also always like having so cool extra stuff. But let's get to the topic. I want to read you a little excerpt and then I will comment a bit about it. Hello and moin moin. Great you're all enjoying the premiere of Sun together with me. We are that's why this live stream is actually at this moment rolling, because today is the release day of Sun. Journey of Icarus. It's not a video release this time, but only a song release. And so, yeah. Yeah, greetings. Cool that so many people join. And yeah, I hope you enjoy the song. If you haven't yet, check it out. I'm I'm not getting to the study I brought because you write so much, but that is more than okay. It's cool if we have a lot to talk together. Do you plan to build a fan club? Oh, actually, I'm thinking about what to do for the future, but I didn't decide yet how that could look like. So if you have wishes, then just let me know, because then we can consider making them come true. No promises at this moment, but I'm really thinking about how can we make a better connection, how can we like be in good contact, not only like with this live stream, but also to give you like some information or insights you like, or some material of our archives you like. And yeah, behind the scenes, we are thinking about a lot of ideas, but we are really unsure what would be cool for you, actually. And therefore, if you have ideas, let us know them, and then we can see what we can make out of them. Oh, saludos de Mexico. Oh, it's cool that we are going around the world again. Ah, really, really cool. Yes, some bots attack us, we can ignore them, I think. I guess everybody will realize what is bot content and what is real writers. Yeah, so I brought a study here because Sun Journey of Icarus actually has quite a severe topic. It's not only about having fun on stage and being the star, being the sun, but also about what happens when the curtains close and what's left afterwards behind. And therefore, I wanted to create a little bit of insights and awareness about what's happening behind the scenes. So I will have a short break of reacting to the chat, and then I will get back to it. Here is a study from the Musicians Union. It's not actually one study, but it's an article that is referring to several studies about musicians' mental health. And what I find a bit like a topic to worry about is that beyond the musicians, there is a very high rate of depression and very heavy different psychological health problems. And what I found interesting about this article is that they are talking about the reasons why are musicians like so vulnerable to mental illnesses. Of course, it is sometimes also that people who are a bit sensitive go into the music to cope with these things, and and therefore, of course, some of those also went into the music business already with these problems beforehand. But also, the current music industry system is creating a very hard time for the mind to cope with. And I want to give you some insights. But at first, a little short moment back to the shed. Yeah, I'm also happy that to be at with Haggard at Pratten in December. Actually, I'm really looking forward to all the December concerts because these are quite a lot. It's two times molllust, so it's in Hirscheid, close to Bamberg, at the Winter Madness Festival, and it's also it is at Sokolov in Czech Republic. It's quite close to the border, so also for those who are living quite in the eastern part of Germany, this is also easy to reach. And with Haggard, I will have concerts at the same festival, at the Winter Madness Festival as molllust, so I will have two shows the same day. And we will also be two times in Italy, and we will be in Pratteln in Switzerland. And there is also rumor spread that we will come to Turkey for a show. Let's see what will come out of that. And yeah, the next thing in the shed, there's a lot of pressure. Yes, there is pressure, but the biggest pressure is not only that you is not only to make music that also is appealing to the fans, but actually the biggest pressure for me from the feeling is time versus money pressure. Because I can tell you my working week has about 70 hours for about a year now to get this release done. And also beforehand, I was always way beyond the 40 hours week just to make music happen without starving at the same time. And this is really, really hard to cope on a long time because you always have the choice. If you are working a lot to get money from projects, jobs beside the music, to be really safe and to be not dependent to anybody and to be able to pay your rent, then you of course pay this with less amount of time for the music. And if you want to get things done in a certain specific period of time, you are simply all the time completely overworked. And this is actually my status for I can't remember how long, and it's really rare that I take time off to really relax and to find time for family, for friends, and it sometimes feels like you sacrifice a lot for the music, just that it can happen and can go on, and this is a lot of pressure, and it leads you close to the burnout easily. And when in these cases you have the moments where it's not glamorous and where it's not exciting and where it's just hard work behind your desktop PC or whatever, then there are these moments where you feel just simply exhausted and ask yourself, why am I doing this? Why did I choose this path? Is it really the right decision? The other way to get out of this misery is, okay, to say, well, I reduce my hours, and this means either your musical output drops a lot, because obviously you have less time for the music, or you reduce your jobs and you get in some kind dependent to someone who is supporting you. And this can be fans, and this can be friends, this can be family. And in each case, you feel that you owe something to someone because you're on that bill of that person. And you feel all the time kind of guilty because you're and each, at least for me it is, I also tried this out to work less. And for example, Frank, my bandmate, was like taking over some builds for me, and I took more time to build up the band. But at the same time, I always felt then like totally the pressure on me when we are like, for example, not exactly um, um, with the same opinion on a certain band task. It's hard to get then objective because you feel like you owe something to the other person, and it's also, it puts another pressure on you because if you for some reason are not completely in tune with the person you are depending on, and also if it's like family or if it's friends, um, you will at the same moment lose the complete model of life you're at that moment into. And so um, it is a huge pressure to somehow find the way. And this is hard to cope. This is really hard to cope. And yeah, let me look at a little moment in the chat. Um, is there a new Haggard album planned? Yes, it is, but I have no idea when it will come because this is not up to my decisions, and I don't know actually how far Aziz proceeded with all the compositions. It's for me um, uh, and for most of other Haggard musicians is like, we are musicians and we play the music, but we don't have so much influence on the mm, on the bigger plans, because this is the project more of Aziz, and we are like really enjoying to be part of the band, but we don't take over the decisions. And to get a signed CD, that is no problem actually. Just give us a word. We will open the from the molllust album. We will open the pre-sale very very soon. We already we are building the shop behind the scenes to have the new CD inside, and then you can just write us that you want to have a signed copy, or if you order it at the crowdfunding, you will get a signed copy anyway. So if you want to have a signed CD, then you will find your way. Just, yeah, let us know. And yeah, am I running molllust alone? Um, not completely alone. It is I'm like the main responsible person because it was originally my idea. I'm also the main songwriter. I'm doing the main orga work, but also other musicians help me. So Frank is also taking from the other musicians like the most part. He's like helping a lot with the technical stuff, and for stage, for example, and also logistical things like we all have to come to the concert somehow, so somebody has to organize that, or yeah, so it's also like when we are posting on social media, I often ask Frank, hey, can you do a post? I don't have the time at the moment, or I'm too exhausted, and then he's like taking over. So he's taking also a bit of the work from my table, but still, if you want to run a band and it should really have a lot of output and you have like these compositions, it's a mountain of work. Also, other bandmates sometimes help me, so I try to always involve them a bit in the booking because this is also a lot of work. And also Julian helps me a bit with like some graphics and also like quite profane things behind the scenes. For example, for the stream, it is hard to like put the cameras all in the right position when you are sitting at the same time. So I asked him to just like put the camera at the right spot, or help him to hang the backdrop behind me. So a lot of small stuff on a regular level that have to be done. Yeah. So again, back to the chat. Give me a moment, I have to read that. Many of us have chosen a path that nobody could have imagined a good 20 years ago. Yeah. Nice to see and hear you. Yeah, that's really true. Um, um, the paths are uh, different than I imagined when I was still a schoolgirl. Actually, I didn't know that I would end up as a singer in a symphonic metal band, which is a totally and cool thing. But um, I wasn't expecting that when I was still like a child, and also I had a completely different idea what it means to be in a band and to have a life as a touring musician. When I started to be a musician, I really had no idea, and I imagined things really a bit easier than they actually are. So I'm a bit frustrated, but when then there are things that are running well, then I'm feeling like totally pumped again and take the energy of that to also cope with the obstacles again. So it's always, yeah, two sides of the coin. But I guess it's not only the musician's job. Mm. For the crowdfunding stuff, yeah, everything is signed, unless you tell me you don't want signed CDs. Yes, the crowdfunding stuffs are signed. Yeah, more questions? Otherwise, I would go back to my little article I brought. So here are some examples that make musicians' life hard, and I can totally relate with it. Um, Here is what I was already talking a bit about are these irregular working patterns. And so this is obviously not something I alone feeling hard, but it's also something that many musicians find like hard to cope. But there is another thing besides this work versus time thing, but there's also the touring life that is not exactly what you would call family and friend friendly. I mean, if you want to meet friends on a regular basis and you finally made it through all this like super hard work steps and you finally are longer on tours, then you have few times to see your family, and not everybody is taking that so well. So it can really happen that you lose friends because you just see them like once, twice a year. I have actually friends that I really like that I see really, really rarely, especially when due to the combination of being overworked or when I'm touring. Obviously, there is for other reasons no slot for it, and this also um, touring can be from another thing hard to get like a normal kind of um, day. Not everybody gets along so well with being at one moment on the stage, being like the star for the moment, and then when the spotlights go out, it's the exact opposite. I mean, you are perhaps sleeping in a bus, you are going around the world, and you have situations like you walk in your pajamas out of the bus and you're like at a motorway stop and walk into this motorway stop with your toothbrush to get your teeth somehow brushed, and you feel really like a nomad, not really like um, yeah um, being in a nice or comfortable atmosphere all the time. Or sometimes you have like showers in the venues and 20 musicians try to rush through this shower and to hurry in the bathroom so the next one still also has time to get a shower before the show, not to look like completely wasted from just laying in the bus and the show the night before, because you perhaps didn't have the time to have your shower before you have to leave already. And so this can also be like very draining. Or if you have tours, for example, and you have to fly from one show to the next, then your schedule can be like that. You have to stay awake until 2 or 3, until like you are in your hotel room and you can sleep. Because I mean, as soon as the show is over, of course fans want to talk with you. I mean, and this is cool. I mean, I also want to talk to the fans, because um, you don't have so many opportunities to be in every region and to talk with everybody. But yeah, it's quickly that it's getting late. And when your flight is the next morning and you have to leave between 5 and 6 a.m. the hotel room, so you have like 3 hours in a bed. So this is nice for 1 or for 2 nights, but if you have like 2 weeks, then at some point you are also physically completely wasted. And I personally have just the survival mode then, that I'm sleeping basically everywhere, in the plane, in the cars, even if it's taking long at the sound check, just to somehow stay in a mode of being capable of doing the shows, and what I'm loving, because I mean I'm totally dependent as a singer of a body that's working. Because as soon as I have a cold, I have already a problem on stage, and I really have to fight um, mm, my way then through the show, or if I feel like hangover. And this is also something that does something with you, not only from the body but also like from the mind, if you just have this very specific and challenging times. And also if you, for example, you don't want to disappoint the fans, you don't want to cancel a show if you are ill, so what are you doing? Yeah, you go on stage, of course, until you really can't stand anymore. And so I was really in conditions on stage already where I would have better belonged in a bed, if I will be honest. And this is very hard to deal with. Um, yeah, and the next thing on this list for musicians, problematic health issues, is stage fright and sexual harassment. And I'm quite lucky actually that I don't have problems with these two things. I only have stage fright when I'm badly prepared, and I know that I can. It is of a high probability that I will fuck something up, because I really don't know what I have to do all the time, and then I'm nervous. But when I know the show, I don't have really stage fright. I just enjoy being on stage. So that's luckily not my problem. But I know musicians that are really really fighting with that. And also with sexual harassment, I luckily don't have so many problems. um, and I think this is also due to being in the like rock music scene and not in the classical music scene. There is way a bigger problem, because you have to fit like into this theater model, and you are quite dependent to those on the next levels. And if you, for example, are going against um, someone who takes decisions, and yeah, you don't accept like some touches or whatever, then it may be that you lose your job. And therefore I am not so dependent as such an independent music on these structures, and therefore I am lucky that this one is less of a problem for me. Of course, I also get like sometimes some stupid comments behind the stage, but that's nothing that would really cause me serious trouble. I actually see the serious trouble on the other side then, because I see those who have to cope um, in this black hole after the sunny show. And this is also something like the guy I'm singing about in this in Sun Journey of Icarus is trying to deal his problem. I mean, I painted like kind of a narcissistic, depressive character who tries to cope with these up and downs. And there you see like also other dark sides. It's not only um, on the sexual level, it's also on the drug abuse level. So several forms for several people to cope with a black hole after the show. And this is also, I think, a global problem of musicians, not only in rock music, but is also from the opera scene. I know from people who really are like having problems with substances, of course. This up and down, and this then combined with the loneliness, if you are not bound to a family for the reasons I mentioned beforehand, then things can get heavy. Yeah, hello to Turkey. Yeah, so Sun Journey of Icarus has a serious topic. And I wanted to give you a little bit of an insight what inspired me to write such a song, and why I made the song about the sun, about our star, not only light, but it also has like the dark side from the absence of the sun. Another question. What is my personal opinion about war in Ukraine and Putin aggression? My personal opinion is that the problem is way older than what is actually happening, and that humanity failed already way before to solve the conflicts that were occurring in that region. And therefore, I think that all the escalation, I hope, or no, not I hope, but I guess perhaps could have been could perhaps not happened if we would have found solutions beforehand for the conflicts that were occurring. I mean, it's quite a complex thing. Right now, when we are looking on that, we see one aggressor on the side, and we see a country that is defending itself, and it's very hard to say just to the people, okay, I mean, I'm against war, I don't want people to die, but if you just say, okay, Ukrainian, just leave it, yeah, well, what is his choice? I mean, but on the other hand, I also see that there, at least what I get from the media, that also not in all areas of Ukraine people were always happy, and that there were also some conflicts occurring that were not solved beforehand. I would never say that taking an invasion in another country is just, or that any aggression is just. I think that is completely wrong, actually. I would say that humankind should know better and try to solve conflicts in a peaceful way, because aggression will just lead to more aggression, will lead to losses, will lead to blood, and we should do everything in our hands to avoid that. It is very hard to find a solution of all the things that are at the moment going on in Ukraine. And actually, I don't think that I really know enough to know what the very best solution is to solve these things. But I would hope that we will find on a more global level better strategies to prevent wars before we have to find solutions for conflicts that are already going on. And I think, therefore, for stuff like that, people all over the world should have access to a good education, that people all over the world should have a good access to food, should don't have to worry about sleeping on the streets, and therefore to fight poverty on all levels, be it mentally or be it for the physical body. And therefore, when people can be okay, no matter which culture they belong to, no matter where they live, then I'm convinced that then it's also harder to convince people to be part in conflicts of some people who have a desire for power. Because when people are happy and are not in pressure situations and are not in need, then they don't really have a motivation to be part in conflicts. And I think that should be something we should, as a humanity, focus a lot on, in order to have as few of these conflicts on this world as possible. Because I think we as like Europeans, we now see with a big spotlight what is going on our like eastern neighborhood, but it's not the only conflict in the world that's at the moment occurring. We just have to look in other regions where it's also really, really bloody, in Africa, for example. and this is worrying me exactly um, at the same level. And I'm really afraid that this conflict that is at the moment are happening, are escalating more and more, and hurting more and more people. And I really, really hope that we find a way out of this big escalation, and that we don't end up like in kind of a World War III or something like that, because this would be just a very, very stupid idea. I mean, we all know that the humanity has the power to completely destroy our planet, and we should really think about how we can prevent situations that can endanger this scenario, because I think I don't have to explain that this can't be for the benefit of anyone. Yes, this was quite a long answer. Yeah, I'm worrying a lot about this. I mean, it is a reason why this album has several tracks that are thinking about the misery of war on this album. This album was completely written before this conflict even started. The music was completely recorded. Not the conflict started. That's not right. I mean, the conflicts undergoing were, of course, on a longer way, but the actual war escalation started, and also our videos were planned before that. So when I was writing the album, also the conflict in Syria actually really bothered me. I also had a moment at a concert in Turkey when I was playing there with Haggard. There was a Syrian fan that was approaching me and was super happy that he was able to join a Haggard concert for his first time, because we never came to Syria for obvious reasons at the moment. And he told me, oh yeah, one day when the war is over, I will show you Damascus. It's such a beautiful city. And it like it hit me like a rocket. I was like completely touched, and I thought, wow. I mean, what do we know? How will the future of this country be? Will that moment ever appear? This is someone who, at the moment, is completely taken away from his home, and this is just something that shouldn't happen. That shouldn't happen to anyone on this planet. Nobody deserves to lose his home, to lose friends, to lose his cultural identity, all the things that come together. And I'm also sometimes feeling like a bit of overwhelmed when I'm thinking about all this stuff, and I always ask myself, what can I do to solve these problems? How can I do a bit to help? And I said, okay, at the moment I don't have such a big toolbox for that as one person alone. I perhaps can go to a peace demonstration. What else can I do? Yeah, I can sing about the stuff, can create some awareness, but I at the same moment feel a bit of a lack of power when I see like these big things in the world where I would love to do something for it to change. I even wonder sometimes if I can just sit here and make music while I see what is all going wrong in the world, and just taking like this selfish interest to do my stuff while around I see so obvious things going wrong. And I don't have really already an answer for me how I can find like a good balance for that. That's something I'm thinking about in the last time a lot, actually, or most of the time when I'm not making music. Yeah, that's but that's perhaps a bit like my personal thing, that it is hard for me to see things where I think, okay, it's not working as it is supposed to be, and I always feel like this urge or this need to change something on that. And Sometimes I find like small solutions where I can do at least something in my personal space or environment, but it always feels so small on a global level. And not be ashamed, best what you can do. Yeah, I hope that my music has a positive effect, and that it is more than just me sitting at home thinking about stuff and writing stuff. I guess I think sometimes a bit too much behind the scenes, and yeah, I'm I'm not like the person that can just switch off the mind and just say, "Oh, I don't care what is happening around me. I just enjoy life." That's somehow not working for me. So, in some situations, I envy those people who can do that, but in others, I'm also quite happy that, yeah, uh, that um, that this motivates me to do something that's perhaps sometimes bigger than me, or bigger than just my personal stuff. Uh, yeah, but it's also something you can break on when you put your aims too high for yourself. So I'm also trying to find a good balance for that for myself here. Um, yeah. So, do you have any more questions? So, for those who just joined later, I'm here because it's today the release day of Sun Journey of Icarus. It's a new molllust song with a lot of piano inside, and it's like around the theme of a star who, or a human person that turns a star, and that has his, yeah, trouble with a musician's life, and has like quite a interesting way of coping with that. And I was like talking a bit in this release video about mental issues of musicians behind the scenes. And yeah, actually, there were definitely people behind the scenes that are also um, inspired me for this fictional character behind the scenes, but I really don't want to tell you names. That wouldn't be fair. Yeah, and but in the end, yeah, I really enjoyed the process of recording it. And actually, what I also very much enjoyed for Sun Journey of Icarus, that was the harpist. She did an amazing job here, and I was like a little child on Christmas when I was listening to her when she was recording the song in studio. She was really an excellent player. So um, if you didn't check out Sun Journey of Icarus yet, then feel invited to do so. You will find it on all the platforms that usually offer streaming music, like Spotify, YouTube Music, Amazon Music, iTunes, Deezer, whatever title, whatever platform you like most. And yeah, the next release also will be soon, and then it will be getting really big, because on 25th of November our whole album will come, and it will come in two different versions. We have the CD version, and this version is I think 76 minutes of music, where you just have the songs, and then from one song to the next there are small songs. I called them cosmic promenades that lead from one to the next, so that the whole album basically is one big journey, one big track. So if you now from Sorgsky Bilder einer Ausstellung, so so pictures of an exhibition, then he also has like some of these promenades. I was a bit inspired by that, and so these smaller tracks lead from one to the next, and on the CD is complete. But for streaming we have it a bit different. We just have the main tracks and not like one fluent thing. So the physical CD buyers have like a little advantage, because they have the complete version with all the promenades leading from one to the next, because we thought it's perhaps kind of strange if you listen to this source thing on shuffle and then you get like these transition bits in the shuffle player that are not really supposed to stand alone and have like no concrete starts and ends because they blend into the song before and after. Yeah, only vinyl here. Unfortunately, we don't have vinyl yet because um, we didn't get so many requests for vinyl actually until now, and so it didn't seem to us that there would be a big need. But if there are many voices rising, we will think about doing also a vinyl version. Um, but yeah, just to press like one or two vinyls wouldn't make so much sense because then they will get quite expensive. It's always the more pieces of one thing you make, the cheaper each one gets in the production process. It's the same also for CDs or for T-shirts, for merch. And so we also think about, okay, what can we offer that interests some more people, that it also makes sense from the production point of view, because of course we can't sell then something for just ridiculous rocket prices just because we have so low numbers that we can order. And yeah, so if we have a lot of vinyl lovers and we will get to know from that, then we will also think about that. Yes, and with the release of the album, there will also come the next video. It will be a video to Pluto, the Raven's Lullaby, and yeah, I'm already very curious what you will say about this. If you just see like the short canvas we made for Sun, is not no complete video, so we just I actually got some stock footage and really chose the right moments and cut them together. That was enough for a small trailer, but it's not enough for a complete video. Because unfortunately, although I would have loved to have a cool performance of a good dancer and to put some piano pieces inside, this wouldn't have been possible for us to film from a time point of view, because it's already a very hard time for me. I actually even quit one day of music school after the autumn holidays because I'm so overworked with all the release that I have had no chance to get everything done properly. So I already started quitting a bit of my job in order to get the band stuff done. But this has limits, of course, because I still have to survive. Yeah. So for now, we're already talking. Wow, this was quick. About 1 complete hour. So perhaps I should slowly but surely come to an end, because I still have an appointment tonight, because a band that we are friends with, the bands of our producer or from our first CD, from Andy Schmidt, Disillusion, they have their big release show here in Leipzig tonight, and we want to go there and to support them with their release. And so yeah, when the stream is over, I actually already have to leave, not to miss the first band. Yeah, so sometimes I also like change the sides. I also enjoy actually to go to classical concerts time by time. It's for me really cool also to get some, yeah, something new for a mind to suggest and to digest and to get some inspirations. And of course, also just for the personal joy of listening to music and enjoying a good concert. I mean, therefore, I'm kind of a fangirl sometimes as well. It's yeah, it's always awesome to see like good musicians performing. Just can't just say that. And it's, be it in the own band, is also something that I'm like sometimes a fangirl on stage of my fellow musicians, or be it also at the concerts of others. Yeah, but now time to say goodbye for the moment. We'll see again, and if you have questions or ideas or whatever you wish from us, let us know and we can think about what we can make out of it. So, Have a good evening, have a great weekend, and enjoy our new single. And yeah, see you soon, hopefully. Goodbye.